If you're not on board with like, hey, let's make this community a better place and make sure everybody's safe, then you don't belong here. Yeah. So
you're listening to the local club.
There's something undeniably charming about the homespun music of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, post something or other folk band, Birthrates. Within the first few lines of the first song, you'll hear there's something glaringly unique about their sound. Kirby Jays, guitarist and lead vocalist of the outfit, bears a strikingly deep and potent voice. Think Matt Berninger of The National with a shot of espresso. And with the buttery fretless bass work and the fitful harmonies of right-hand man Lyndon Holt, Birthrates offers something unexpected. I've got to be honest, it took me a few songs to get on board with the sound and to get this new, raw taste when I first heard their debut album, Act Right. But now, I'm absolutely stuck on this music. I asked them to come in for a reason. These guys are a blast, and I truly think you'll enjoy our conversation, but really, it was because they're bringing something fresh to the table, and because the band embodies a few of the things I love most about the DIY music spirit. It's the undying urge to make music mean something, and the conviction to take care of the people around you. Their music is energetic, but it's not in a hurry. It's casual, but not coarse. And there's a salient fear that braids itself through the lines of each song that seems to capture the burden of so many young folks in music as they bellow, "You know I'm not religious, not even a bit. But I'd like to know that when I go, if there's a candle for me, someone will keep it lit."
I buy drugs on the internet, put my alias and address in box night slept since, because it's cheaper than the guy who knows the guy I knew in high school. Purer than the girl I've got it. I got the public pool. I don't know that I like the blood and burst circles round my eyes, and I know I hate spending my morning paying back the night, but do it just to glimpse the frowning, floating face of God in the hall, saying, "Remember, my child, you are as beautiful as you are small." and sends logs tumbling out of the truck, down and down on top of me. I will have known to be simple. I will have known to be clean. Or I will be small and beautiful when they find me.
I mean, the song was written, we just spent some time on tour hanging out with some real psychonauts who are kind of committed to exploring the furthest reaches of the mind that psychedelics can provide certain gateways into. And that song is sort of my like, we're not really ready to go there. And that's what that song's about, you know. But that was a song I wrote while Lyndon was like upstairs tracking bass parts for the album. I was working on that like in the living room, and the version that's on the album, I like went upstairs and I was like, hey Ryan, I finished this song, can I do it? Like I did one take of it, and then I did an electric guitar overdub, and that's what's on the record. It was like he had two like mics pointed at the guitar, and he did have a vocal mic up, but I sing really loud and it's hard to isolate that, so there's no vocal mic track on the. It's just all the guitar mics.
Oh, that's
on
cool.
the record. Yeah.
I guess as a segue, let's talk about the new album. So when did that come out? That was just like a week ago or something?
Yeah, we had it with us on our last tour, which ended about a week
ago.
Yeah,
a week ago yesterday.
It was 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we released it on the 17th.
Yeah, which was the last day of tour. So we had it at our shows, so we could be like, hey, everybody, we have this thing that you can't get on the internet. And then we had like a release party show when we got home.
Nice.
It's called Act Right, and we're pretty happy with it.
So you guys, in the album, there's some drum tracks in some of the songs.
Yeah.
You guys don't tour with the drummer though?
No.
So that's our drummer, Ryan. He is in Pittsburgh. He's going to school right now for audio engineering, so he can't make time to be on the road because of his education. But yeah, he did all.
He's like one of the first people we met in Pittsburgh, and we were like, hey buddy, you want to like play drums and help us record this album?
So we recorded it in his bedroom.
So we haven't played a show with him, but he did, do a lot of work too.
Oh, cool.
I mean, he did all the engineering and the mixing and stuff, and then also learned all the songs to play drums on the record. Wow. Which is, I'm really happy we got drums on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it added a lot. That's really cool. Did he like learn all the drum parts and like track them first, or was it kind of like a?
We'd like start with like
a
a guitar.
Yeah, we usually
do like a guitar to a click track, and then kind of build from there.
So how long have you guys been in Pittsburgh for?
Since the 29th of May.
Oh wow!
So
like
4
months.
Yeah.
4 months, not counting the all the time we've been gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So where were you guys beforehand?
We went to school together in Beloit, Wisconsin, at Beloit College.
Oh, okay, so both of you guys were in Beloit.
Yeah,
That's where we met and started
Gotcha.
music
So
together.
we played music together there, and like in other bands and stuff. And then I put out a solo album that we're gonna play a couple tracks from in a bit, like last May, and was touring on that. And then we had like a big winter tour, or I had a big winter tour set up that was like a month long.
22
And I was like, hey, Lyndon, you want to I did not expect him to say yes to this, but I was like, do you want to skip Christmas and your family's gathering and come on the road with me? And he was like, yeah.
Nice.
So
Christmas in the Cape with Kirby's clan.
Yeah, so sometime over the course of that tour, Lyndon decided that this was something that I had kind of planned on doing after school. Was seriously pursuing this, but Lyndon decided he was on board over the course of that tour. So we were like, okay, we're gonna graduate, gonna move to Pittsburgh, gonna record an album, gonna do everything we can to just put in the work.
We chose Pittsburgh primarily because it's close to both the East and the Midwest. I mean, obviously getting out here is a day's drive, but we can do that. So if we need to come out here for whatever reason, we can do that, and we can also try to build ourselves up on the East more. It's close enough to New York and Boston, everywhere,
and it's cheap enough that we don't have to have real jobs.
Yeah,
we
can have jobs that allow us to take off all the time we want to tour.
How far are you guys from New York?
5 hours.
Okay. Wow. So you're right in the middle.
We had a list. We had a list of cities and a list of things that we wanted, and Pittsburgh was the last city on the list, so that's where we went.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I like it. So how do you guys like Pittsburgh? Is there? Good
it's really great. There is a great
Yeah.
music scene. There's way more stuff than we can go to, and I'm starting to get I was involved in Wisconsin, throwing a lot of shows, and booking bands and doing that kind of stuff. And I'm already like able to kind of start getting involved in that kind of stuff again, which is really important to me. And it's nice to have a community that we can just kind of show up in and be like, hey guys, what's up? We're like excited about this and we want to like be part of it. And people are like, yeah, cool. Because like there are music scenes that you can roll up to and people will be like, outsider.
We've landed really well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Kirby, have you always done music in this style? Like your solo work, was it sort of in this style before?
I mean,
this is just kind of like
I think it's a natural
of that?
like evolution. Yeah. I mean, I've always been like primarily an acoustic musician. I played in like a rock and roll band for a little while in college, but that was never really like we never recorded anything.
Gotcha.
We were called Bush Cheney and we had a lot of fun.
It shows a little rowdy.
Yeah. The kind of a songwriter aesthetic is kind of at the core of what I'm interested in doing. Like, I mean, even if I've been playing in a rock band or playing in something else, it's always been about lyrics and always been about like trying to communicate in that way.
How about you, Lyndon? What have you been playing?
Well, I mentioned like briefly earlier that this bass is so much different. I think my first one, it was like this black 5-string Ibanez, and that really shows where I came from, which was from metal. And I had a punk band in college that was really fun. But I pretty much, as far as music goes, I just do this. Kirby does all the writing for this outfit. We both we put the songs together. Yeah. So we do. I help a lot with the
Arrangement.
I'm searching for arrangement.
There we go.
But as far as songwriting, I don't do anything for this outfit.
Okay.
I mess around on my computer somewhat, doing like ambient electronic soundscapes.
Oh, cool.
But that's just like
He won't show it to me. It's internet only.
It's not for the meat space.
Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? It's a secret.
Nice. So what brought you to this side of the music world from like metal and punk?
Well, I mean,
Hanging out with me.
Yeah, mostly just getting. We had a band in college. Like we were in a 4-piece with 2 women, one of whom played a really really mean fiddle, and the other whom sang and played a drum box. And just that started second semester of our freshman year and went. Yeah,
because the 4 of us like worked together in the like scene shop for the theater, like building sets and stuff, and they were just like. Literally, like the most convenient people that I knew played instruments. And they were like, "You guys want to start a band?"
That's
and then
the
we
best.
were a band for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and so like I brought my bass to college because I was playing it. But getting involved in Opus Dog and meeting Kirby was basically like that. Really changed the direction of where I am as a musician right now and shaped that. Yeah,
good deal. Yeah, I started in a hardcore band in high school, and that's kind of like I feel like it always just kind of like is just in the background of the music. Like you can't just like pull all of that out. There's always going to be like a little metal in what you do.
Yeah, well, and I feel like, I definitely like, especially on the vocal parts, I feel like it's much more influenced by rock than it is, because I've known Kirby, I listen to a lot more acoustic stuff, and I really, really respect and enjoy those artists. But I think from where I'm coming from, it's more influenced by rock and roll.
We had a band in college, and then we, this is just kind of the logic. Like we threw in, I had the album in my car that we made in like 2014. Yeah, and we like threw it in the car, and we were like, wow, this is like, I used to like I have a low resonant voice naturally, but I didn't listen to anybody who like sang low. It didn't like occur to me. Like I was just like, yeah, like My Chemical Romance, fuck yeah, like. It didn't occur to me that my voice like exists down here, right? Yeah. So like there's like this entire generation of recordings that I did where I'm just like pushing my voice to get this like high like nasally sound that doesn't make any sense coming out of my mouth.
And then did something like The National happen?
Exactly.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, I had a moment in like February of like 2015 in the winter where I like I put on like I'd listened to The National before, but like it never really like hit me, and then I like put on like Trouble Will Find Me and like lay back in my bed in my like closet room in my house there and like listened to that whole album, and it was just like, oh yeah, shit. Well, I mean, The National, and then also I took a semester of voice lessons, and the woman who was teaching me was like, first day, like, all right, let's find your range. It's like, okay, you go up the keyboard, you go not that far, but like let's see how you match pitch going down, and it just kept going down, and I was like, that's what that is. Yeah, that's why I can't sing.
Finding your voice is a super weird concept.
Yeah, it's weird.
It was hard.
Yeah,
I was bad at singing for a long time.
still.
I feel like when you first start singing, you just like pick a singer. You're like, maybe I sound like them, and so you just kind of like try like singing like My Chemical Romance or something like that.
A lot of trial and error.
It's not hitting.
A lot of trial and error for sure.
And it's so true that it's just like growing up, like it was all about the guys with the high voice. Just like the higher that you could go, like the cooler that you were.
Well, and it's like all my first like show experience, like real show experiences were like going to like, you know, Midwest emo like house shows in Central Illinois. Like that's something that I think comes through in our music that I've been thinking about more recently, is all this like kind of foundational experiences I had going to see like math and emo bands at house shows and stuff.
Yeah, that was the Midwest at the time.
Yeah, for real.
Totally.
If I want to like actually have a kind of like, because you get that like, what genre are you guys question a lot, and usually if we're trying to not have a conversation about it, we'll just say we're a folk band. But you know, if we're like actually having a conversation, I feel like we're a folk band that's like sort of built on like we use like folks' tradition of storytelling and folks like sort of instrumentation and like the vocal harmonies, but kind of build it on more like song structures that are like more angular and more like I think kind of come from that time in my life of like, you know, seeing all these like interesting and experimental bands and, you know, being connected. Like, I mean, I still do that, but like it got into me somewhere.
Yeah. That's cool. Folk is kind of fun and malleable in that way.
Yeah.
Where like your influences and like where your background is musically, no matter what you do, it comes through. And so you can like almost like listen to a folk band and like hear what they were listening to in like middle school and high school.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It's a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Good deal. All right. Well, we got a few more songs coming from you guys. What is song number 2 that
this
we're doing?
one's called Short Skirt. We said we were going to play a rock and roll song, so this one's a rock and roll song. Oh yeah. This is what I say when I on stage a lot. I'll say that this is a song about being kind of a whiny man baby, but it felt pretty good to write at the time.
Said, you know, I'm happy now, and I said, it must be nice for you. She said, you know, I'm mean without you. I said, you know you do it out there. She looked fucking dangerous in a short skirt. I bet you are unstoppable. I bet it doesn't really hurt. When you wake up Sunday morning feeling scraped raw inside, oh, tequila, it's no preacher, but it'll keep your sins through the night. I'm completely fucked, I'm dangerous, I keep myself in line by marks on my skin. I come untucked and I fade back towards the line. You look fucking dangerous in the short skirt. I bet you are unstoppable. I bet it doesn't really hurt. Oh, she said she's moving to Chicago to see what she can see. Better in an apartment, 2 locked doors from the street. Oh, she's getting out this cornfield town, taking everything but me. I'll move to the city, buy a bike, and then I'm sure you'll finally feel free. Feel free. Feel free. Feel free. And I bet you look fucking dangerous in the short skirt. I bet you are unstoppable. I bet it doesn't really hurt. And I bet you look fucking dangerous in the short skirt. I bet you are unstoppable. I bet it doesn't really hurt.
This is why I don't
What's that?
use... I broke my pick.
No.
This is why I don't use anything
besides
other than these little yellow turtle picks. I don't know
I've
what
never
I had
broken
that
one of those
for.
turtle picks.
Yeah, exactly. They're great.
Never, ever.
they're the best.
Tortex, if you're listening, please give me money.
This is a fun thing to talk about. We actually contacted.
I tried
Dario.
Yeah, I break
Dario.
strings all the time because my sweat is like nasty and acidic.
Seriously, if we're playing in somewhere like at all hot and he sweats at all, you can see after we play
it's like corrosive.
7 songs, those things
disgusting.
get dirty.
Really?
He played my electric
Wicked
on the
gross.
album and he gave it back to me. And I was just like,
I did buy you a new set of strings.
you absolutely did buy me a new set of strings. It's noticeably better in the colder months. Like when we were on tour just a few weeks ago, he was practically changing strings before every set, just because if he didn't and we were sweating, he knew that he was going to
just
break
gonna
one.
get
on
my
stage.
guitar wasn't gonna make it through the set, and
even with the
then,
backup,
sometimes
yeah.
It's gross. So hey,
It's gross and expensive.
Does Dunlop make strings? Because I'll endorse that too. Like I exclusively play to Dario medium lights. So hey, I'm using a whole bunch of your product, and I'm playing a whole bunch of shows. So if you want me to wear a T-shirt or get a fancy hat or tattoo or something,
Get a tattoo.
hit me
right
up.
on your neck.
Yeah.
Just like right across the chest here.
Yeah. I know this isn't like, I know it's a house show and it's December, but I gotta take my shirt off for some contractual stuff.
Oh, that'd be dumb.
So I gotta know.
Gotta know.
Did she move to Chicago?
No. It's like 90% fictional.
90%? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the details of like I think of myself much more as like a storytelling songwriter than like a here's a bunch of shit that happened in my life that I'm gonna like use.
Yeah,
to,
a lot of the songs are fictional people that whose stories may be somewhat influenced by
or like
real things that happen.
A friend will say like I'll hear somebody say something and I'll just like okay I'm gonna build something around that, but it's like once I'm rolling, I'm not really concerned.
They get a
with,
life of their own.
Yeah,
too.
they're separate characters from wherever they came from.
That's sick. I like that. So this fictional character, did she move to Chicago? You get to
She said
decide
she was
right now.
going.
She said,
Yeah, I mean,
Right
she
now.
said she's going to. She's
Do we trust her?
Yeah, she's cruising around Wicker Park on a bicycle right now.
That sounds accurate.
Wicker Park is like one of the like 5 different names of Chicago neighborhoods I know, and I know it was like kind of hip, so that was the one I used for that joke.
it landed.
But sure,
It landed.
We're
it's
just down
expensive.
from Wicker Park. Wicker Park is just like over there.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Short bus ride away. We're in Avondale,
Avondale.
for reference.
Yeah, we can see the whole skyline from here.
Give us a literary
good
description
radio.
of the literary description of what you see.
A literary description.
Yeah, wax eloquent
training
for
for
us.
this, man.
Woof. There are buildings, there are trees. I'm seeing some birds. You ever think about how like birds coordinate their flock movements?
I'm sure there's a lot of science regarding that.
Yeah, but you ever think about it?
No, I don't know how you would possibly do that.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm curious
hey
about.
guys,
Like the
we're going
skyline,
that way
the
now.
skyline is fine. Like it's all monumental and stuff, and it's like nice that we built all those phalluses. But like bird flocks, phalli. It's a very phallic city.
Well, I mean, it's got to be pretty much just like pure reflex. I mean, obviously they're not thinking about it at all, and they're not telepathic. It's just like,
Are you sure?
okay, I'm not positive about that. I assume birds
We
are
don't.
not telepathic.
Yeah, we don't know
But
anything
it's
about
got
the
to just
science.
be reflex. I mean, it's been ingrained for
Millennia.
millennia just to not hit the bird next to you and the bird in front of you.
Yeah, that's the one
They're
bird
just,
rule.
I mean,
Don't
they
hit the
have
bird
amazing
next
like point control in the air too.
Yeah, no.
They're so
Birds are tight.
to you. I would totally go for it.
Hi, this is Maddie Ollie Guzman. I'm a Midwest music photographer, currently residing in the Quad Cities. We've got 3 more fresh songs by Birthrates coming your way, but I wanted to take a quick second to tell you a few things. These songs that you're hearing today were performed live in the Local Glow Chicago studio. If you like what you hear and you want to support the podcast and today's artist, you can purchase this performance at thelocalglow.bandcamp.com for just a few bucks. While you're online, be sure to find us and give us a like on Facebook at The Local Glow. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our feed on iTunes or your favorite podcasting app. If you're feeling particularly nice, please take a minute to rate and review this podcast on iTunes. It helps us to connect with new listeners and to continually improve this podcast. Anyway, back to Birthrates.
So it was this past May that you guys graduated, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. What'd you guys study?
Computer science.
English
No
lit
kidding.
and poetry. Or
Okay.
English lit and like creative writing and poetry.
So that
have-
makes sense.
I have two English
since
majors.
Since
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
all about the lyrics guy. Computer science.
I'm all over
what-
the place. I thought I wanted to be an econ major when I went to high school. I was like all over. I took the AP test and everything. And then I got there and I did like a year of econ classes, and I got to the point where we were like moved past the like just the theory and started applying it, and I realized this may be wrong because I didn't go deep enough, or maybe I'm just like kind of wishy-washy in that regard, but it felt like there was no way to prove anything, and there were these people who were making decisions that impacted so many people's lives based on these studies that they did, but there are just way too many variables to possibly ever prove anything. So that got really frustrating, and and so I went to a discipline. I'd never coded before college. I went to a discipline in which everything is completely black and white, and if you're wrong, no matter how hard it is to find, there's always a reason why
It's
you're
like
wrong.
the most black and white.
Yeah, and I feel like I still code as a hobby. Obviously, I can't pursue like that kind of career right now because we're on the road all the time.
Yeah.
But I code as a hobby, and I really do enjoy the sort of the craft of it. It feels like building something.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah, I was actually a pretty valuable thing for me to study, I think.
Yeah, Lyndon like had to kind of come to a point like last year where it was just like, okay, like music or like really, really like work hard on like coding just to like get enough like projects in the air so somebody will like hire you for a software development gig, and he chose to play bass with me instead.
And now I'm a substitute teacher.
I think is tight. I think that's
You were a
tight.
substitute teacher?
I am a substitute teacher right now.
Cool.
That's what I do to
Where at?
make rent. Pittsburgh Public Schools, high school.
Okay. High school.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. So you're just like a few years older than these guys at the high school.
Well, they always
know.
ask. They know. They always ask me. Like every single period, at least one of them asks me, like, "Wow, you look pretty young."
Well, we got a couple more songs from you guys.
Yeah.
What is next?
What is next? What are the
Let's
other people
do Last 1,000 Years.
playing? Okay.
I am the sum of the last 1,000 years. I am all your mother's insecurities and all your father's fears. Oh, I am the stuff of nightmares, just like you. I was born just like you. That's enough to bear. Sisters are angry all the time, and I am jealous cause I was taught to take what's mine and hold it tight, though no one else ever had a prayer. And I am angry cause I learned to be angry when I'm scared. When you call me up after all this time, say you're out of treatment and to say you're doing fine. Oh, you know I don't believe you and you lie to me that way. But I am happy you are happy, happier that you're safe. So lie to me, your friend, if it gets you through the day, and I will do my best to be there to love you all the same. I am the sum of the last 1,000 years. I am all your mother's insecurities and all your father's fears. Oh, I am the stuff of nightmares, just like you. I was born and just like you. That's enough to bear.
song is more about like kind of the emotional limitations of masculinity, I think. Is kind of where I'm looking at it from, because there's a character at the end, like the friend character, who the narrator feels that they like can't reach out to or can't like really emotionally connect with, even though they're obviously in this time of need. Because they don't have a like framework in which it's like acceptable for them to like express emotion, or acceptable for them to like relate to somebody in a genuine way that they feel like could actually be helpful to this person.
It says, and I'm angry because I learned to be angry when I'm scared. That's
that's kind of the crux of the thing.
Yeah. And that's like,
it's sort of a repeating theme for us.
Yeah.
More and more. I'm trying to like, I don't know, explore those sorts of corners of storytelling, because I feel like that's something that we have like, I mean, I'll leave it to other people to say valuable, but at least relevant input on. Because like, there's a lot of things that we feel like really passionately about like the way music communities should be organized, and the way that like, I see part of our role as a band of like white dudes playing acoustic music, because that's like a million other bands. Like that's a band people have seen like a million times before, but it's also a position of like power and authority where people are going to ideally pay some attention to your lyrics. So if we can use that platform to like, you know, draw attention to these issues that are like important to us, or that we think, you know, need discussion, I think it's, you know, a useful thing to do, and a useful thing to do with our writing.
That's awesome. Cool. Can you share a couple of your ideas about like how scenes should work?
I mean, like so we have this song called Act Right, which is the second to last song on the album. It's the title track. So we usually close our set. We've been closing our sets with it recently, and what I ask the audience to do is there's a repeating chorus at the end of it that goes, "No one in the world can hurt you," and it does that like over and over and over again. But the song is about this like this kind of culture of like it's not a song that's actually about a sexual assault, but it's about the like constant like shadow of that fear that like lots of my like important women in my life have like told me is like just kind of constantly hanging over them. And I know that there are people who come to our shows that wouldn't listen to them saying that. So if we say it, maybe they will. So we try to get people to sing along at the end of the song. And I kind of frame it as like, okay, like this is important to us that you sing this, but it's also important to us that you like mean it. And by singing along with it, you're like making a promise to yourself and to all of the other people in the space that this is something you are going to try. Like this is something you're committed to. Safety, like just create a space where people can be and be comfortable. Because we see it as important that music communities like keep each other safe and make sure that their shows and stuff are safe spaces where like people are, you know, people feel comfortable and people feel welcome and people feel like they belong. Because like if you're not doing that, then what the fuck? Like what is it for?
The edge of the party and the end of the night. She's saying no to little things. Make sure he'll act right. Just like a mama taught her. Day she turned 15. Just like the things she teach her daughters. She hopes she'll never need. Shaking her head. Of course he's smiling, yes. She can feel the way his hand gets tighter. The skin rubs raw inside her dress, and she knows. Well, if he knew why she's walking away, he'd feel ashamed. Mama said shy. Comes to nice boys, it pays to be afraid. wrapping ourselves in a parent's words behind locked doors, saying no one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you now. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you now. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you now. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you. No one in the world can hurt you now.
It's really important to me that I write songs that do something, at least, like, there's... Being an acoustic songwriter is a very, very tropey genre, and a lot of the tropes within the genre are, like...
Wanky.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, genuinely harmful to, like, the craft of, like, storytelling through song, and then also just, like...
Like, how so?
Outdated or... Like, I mean, I say, this is my bit all the time, but, I don't, like, I'm not really... There's so many dudes with acoustic guitars writing songs about girls to make them feel guilty for not being in love with them. Yeah. And, like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, if we're going to do this style of music, we might as well, like, try and say something useful with it. And, like, you know, we're not, you know, I was gonna say, like, we're not out here to, like, evangelize, but I don't think, like, that's, I mean, honestly, though, if you disagree with the sentiment of that song, get the fuck out of our show. So I guess we are here to evangelize. Yeah. Like, you know, if you're not on board with, like, hey, let's make this community a better place and make sure everybody's safe, then you don't belong here. Yeah. So I guess
that's not a very that's not a high bar to set, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just don't be an asshole. Like, people, low bar.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's sick. I love that, guys.
But yeah, I mean, I think we have an opportunity because of who we are to reach people that wouldn't necessarily listen to other voices saying the same thing. Yeah. Who've been saying it louder and longer than we have, but there are plenty of songs written by actual survivors or people who've, like, have a much closer experience with that do a much better job of explaining the sentiment that I am trying to get at in that song. But there are plenty of people who won't listen to those songs and will listen to ours. So, I mean, stopping that kind of shit involves reaching those kinds of people. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's awesome, guys. Cool. Have you found it to be a pretty good response at your shows to?
Yeah, we played a
kind of like incorporation of the audience.
Yeah, I mean, like we usually get a pretty good response on like getting people to, like, sing along and be like, hey, take care of each other. But, like, you know, it depends on, like, what level it's, like, connecting to people. Like,
you sometimes get people coming up to you after the shows and saying, like, that actually was, like, it was really meaningful to hear that, right?
Yeah, like, we played a show in Columbia that was really, really great because we had a bunch of people come up to the show and be like, hey, like, I didn't expect that from you guys, and it was, like, really meaningful that you did that. And, like, it's a really, I mean, that's not what it's about, obviously, but it's nice to know that you're, like, connecting with people on some level, and I'm not going to pretend that, like, writing a song about that shit is, like, some sort of, like, real, you know, piece of activism. It's still just, like, writing a song and, like, playing it at shows that we were going to play anyway and that we love playing, and that, like, we're still out there just, like, no, we're not sacrificing anything, we're just doing what we love. But, you know, if we have an opportunity to make some sort of statement, it's nice to take that opportunity.
Do you guys have a favorite place to stop through on tour?
We have
Favorite city?
Chicago's been really, really great to us
We've had,
recently.
like the last 3 times we've been in Chicago, we've all been just amazing.
Cool.
There's this spot called Louder House that's really, really great. That's in town that we've played at twice now. So we like Chicago a lot. We like coming through the Midwest in general, just because it's nice to see people.
We've got a lot of good friends in Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah, we've
Usually,
kind of
whenever like we don't. I feel like we often meet up with them outside of Iowa. But whenever we
get the
it's always a good
opportunity
time.
to these guys we were on tour with in May, like Extravision and Brooks Strauss, both of who are just like phenomenal songwriters. Our favorite places sort of like rotate depending on because people doing shows kind of come and go, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's good, sometimes but we go through Buffalo a lot. We try to go through, come through like Milwaukee. We played in Milwaukee like so many times.
Nice.
A lot of talent there.
Milwaukee's
Oh my God.
drunk.
Yeah, also that. Yeah.
But yeah, mostly it's not so much about the specific places as we have a lot of touring friends. So when paths sort of converge and we end up playing 2 shows together on the other side of the country with somebody that we're friends with from the Midwest is the most fun.
That's cool.
It's just hey, these guys we went on tour with in May, I knew them okay, decently before that, but I reached out to 3 different places in a row that were both we have these guys Extravision and Brooks Strauss playing already, but it seems like you fit on that bill. So and then
that sounds
the last
great.
show of the run, we actually did book together on purpose, but it happened completely coincidentally that
That's
we
cool.
did our whole our tour with them.
So, do you guys tend to? You guys are probably all over the board because bands need to be able to play the board. But do you have a preference between house shows, DIY venues, bars?
House shows and DIY
Arenas.
venues over bars.
Yeah, bar, unless it's a bar that people heard good things about or people
Sure.
are going to specifically for the music.
Yeah.
If there's a separate room, that's usually a good indicator. But we've definitely had some of our worst experiences at bars. Bars where people are just there to drink and socialize, and nothing on them. If you don't want to see a show, that's fine. But we're not.
We're really easy to talk over.
Yeah.
And just be
I feel that.
there's
And
an
it's not
acoustic
rock and
band
roll,
in the
so-
corner of the bar.
Yeah.
And so our favorite kind of show to play is when we already know and trust the person who is organizing the show, and after that point, it's whatever it is that you're going to do is fine with us because we trust your capabilities to organize a show. But we do have a better time in house shows and DIY venues. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel as long as a house show or a DIY show is properly managed to some degree.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's not, and that's the thing. When we go into one where it's not being properly managed, it really stands out because it's not that hard to do the bare minimum. Just
Right.
have it a little clean. Be on it about donations and just advertise, make a Facebook event. You're good. That's not that much work.
That's all it takes.
But you don't always see that.
Yeah.
But
And then we don't go back to those places.
then we don't go back to
And
this
we
place.
learn.
All right. Well, we got one more song from you guys.
Yeah.
Corner booth.
Yeah, this is another one off the new album, which can be found at birthrates.bandcamp.com and soon on Spotify. This is sort of our first foray into the kind of storytelling that I think we're going to be doing more of in our future.
She's not much for hardcore, I'm not into speed. We're at a corner booth, the same secret needs, and we're a couple of 3 beers deep. She's asking what I like to read, and then we're leaving to walk and talk someplace that no one else can see. Before I know I'm saying I wanna be the kind of guy who sleeps through the night, or I wanna shut my eyes and keep my windows open wide. Oh, there's no way she's saying you'll ever sleep that tight. I can already tell you got something sharp shaking loose inside. Time of night, kids are talking about God, and she smiles and says, you know I done the sinning, just not getting caught. And you know I'm not religious, no, not even a bit, but I like to know that when I go, if there's a candle for me, someone will keep it lit. Gets her place, she asks me inside, and I think of your smile, say you know maybe not tonight, and I'm walking away. She says you call me when you change your mind. And I think of her hand in mine. Say, you know what? I just might. I just might.
Yeah. Ken Archie, Go Roger, Jacob on the horns. Come on. Set it off.
Now don't believe everything you hear. Media keeps pumping all this hate and fear, trying to make it like it's Jack's versus Johnny Cage. But real talk, we should all be on the same page.
You've been listening to The Local Glow, a proudly independent podcast out of Chicago, Illinois, exploring your ecosystem of music as it lives and breathes here in the chilly Midwest.
Turn up the heat and slowly just kill it.
If you enjoyed Birthrates music, check out the link to The Local Glow's Bandcamp page in the show notes to find recordings from this, as well as all previous performances we featured on the podcast. While you're there, you can purchase Birthrates live tracks for just $3. 50% of all proceeds from these sales go to the band, and 50% go to us at the podcast to help us keep the show going. Also, be sure to check out the band on their Facebook and Bandcamp pages, both linked in the show notes. If you haven't listened to our previous episode just yet, I want to let you know about a project that The Local Glow is working on. We're asking listeners to get in touch with us to share their own personal stories about being touched by their local music community, whatever that looks like. We're collecting these stories in hopes to put out an episode or two in which you, our magnificent audience, gets the opportunity to share what music has meant to you throughout your life. You can listen to the last episode titled Tell Me a Story on our feed to hear more information about this effort of ours and to hear my own personal tale of being touched by local music. If you have a story that you'd like us to feature, email us at thelocalglow@gmail.com. Send us one sentence or a whole book. Whatever there is to be told, we want to hear it.
Today, let's forget it. Throw it on the skillet. Throw it on the skillet. Throw it on the skillet.
Hi, my name's Lauren MC, lifelong Chicagoan and aspiring wizard at 88.3 FM radio. The Local Glow was recorded in their independent studio in the magnificent Avondale neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois. Today's episode was produced by Tariq Shihadah, with music mixing by Sam Hansen and Tariq Shihadah, and music mastering by Colin Althouse. The episode also featured original music by Paul Schaefer of It. Today's outro music is the song Skillet by the Cleveland, Ohio duo Go Roger. Check out the music video for this hometown anthem linked in the show notes.
Until next time, friends, call me, beat me, but if you really want to reach me, tell me a story.
Sip of that. Today, let's forget it. Throw it on the skillet. Throw it on the skillet. Throw it on the skillet. Take a hit of this, take a hit of that. Today, let's forget it. Throw it on the skillet.